Hello, I'm a Extra Cat, and good news everybody, more Minecraft Game Drop features are here, at least for Java players. They'll be coming soon for Bedrock apparently, and so what should you expect? Well, here are the 7 new Fireflies, features, Mojang just added this week with a deeper look at what each of them add to the game. This video is simplified down to 7 parts, but if you want to see it simplified even further, here are the 7 main features, and your eyes should really focus towards the beacon, because despite Fireflies being the headline, let me tell you, beacons are the things to be excited for. But with that said, let's dive into the first of these 7 major features, because cow variants did in fact come. Mojang teased this on their Instagram and their Twitter, and it works exactly the same way the pig variants do. They even look kind of similar, especially in the warm variants. So when you're in a warm biome, the exact same places you'll find warm pigs are the exact same places you'll find warm cows. Instead of a cow spawning here, you'll get a warm cow, and if you go to a cold biome, the exact opposite will be true. Here is a cold cow, and here is a cold pig. As you can see, the cold cow gets a little bit of wool, and the warm cow gets a little bit less. This is meant to be the balance, and also interestingly, you can see right here that if I am to milk these cows, I'm just going to get regular milk in both cases. The same is true if I kill them, you just get the regular drops. You can, if you choose to, actually breed these animals together, and then you'll just get a brand new baby variant, which is based not on the biome you breed them in, but instead on the breeds of the parents, and I think they're very, very cute looking, but that's about all we have. It is a purely visual change to cows, and there is a second one of those coming, but it's worth mentioning that next we have the bush and the firefly bush. So the bush is a brand new decoration, which can be found in these biomes, and it's very exciting if you like mild decorations from biomes. I think it looks suspiciously similar to tall grass, and honestly, the world is covered in so much tall grass anyway, but if you like the idea of bushes, and you didn't like the existing bush that we had, and you want a slightly bigger version, then this is great. Interestingly, the bush can be broken with your fist, unlike tall grass, and also, unlike most Java features, this is how Bedrock features work, when you bone meal them, you just get more of the bushes as opposed to more other things. This is pretty cool if you ask me, and yeah, if you're looking for another way to get your hands on some leaf litter, I think I just broke a leaf litter at the same time there, but if you're looking for some way to get your hands on some more decorations, bushes will be easier than tall grass, although then it raises the question, why can I take a bush, but I can't take grass with me? And don't ask those questions, instead ask, how did it take so many years to get fireflies, and indeed, what do they actually look like now they're in the game? I'm glad you asked. This is a firefly bush, it's the much more exciting type of bush they added, and the firefly bush is not just a way to get some fun little glows, but also, when it's nighttime, they release fireflies. So here you can see it's nighttime, and so now my world is filled with those monsters that we've waited for. Yeah, indeed, there have been people soldiering for this for years now, but as you can see, it has become reality. And so there's a few interesting notes about fireflies. One is that when you pause the game, this is going to be possible in Bedrock soon, the firefly bush still glows, but the firefly mob doesn't move, so it is clearly a real thing of some form. But the second weird thing about the firefly, air quotes, mob, is it obviously is not a mob. You can't punch it or do anything with it or interact with it, but yeah, people were dreaming forever of this 2-pixel mob, and I thought it was dumb that people wanted a 2-pixel mob, and clearly Mojang did too, because now we have a 1-pixel mob. So when people were asking for the yellow square and the black square, apparently they were asking for 1 square too many, and I just think that's hilarious personally. Also, just like tall flowers, when you bone meal bushes, you'll get more of them, and so if you want to do really, really silly things involving layering a huge amount of these around to get fireflies everywhere, you can do that, and it looks a lot more atmospheric. Honestly, I really do quite like it as an idea, because I never liked fireflies as a concept. I think this looks better than any image they showed at Minecraft Live, but if you were expecting a mob that could be eaten by frogs, well then you expected too much and you're silly. But you know what else you expected too much of? The cow. Did you know the cow has, so this is the cow change, and the brackets there are to let you know that this cow is a model, but yeah, the cow model has changed, and it was exactly like we saw in the Instagram previews. So as you can see, the snout is now coming off the body just a little bit there. Actually, this might be easier if I let the cow down onto the ground. So as you can see, the snout comes off the body a little bit, and also you can see the back model with the udders has changed very slightly too, because the cow caboose, long story short, the cow is now slightly better modeled than it was before. I'm not actually 100% sure why that needed to change, but some people like it, and I hope you're one of them, because we have the 5th change now, the beacon. That's right, I'm finally ready to talk about the beacon. This is the big one. In my opinion, if you are a survival player, especially a long-term survival player like I am, I think, or forever survival, as people call it these days, but the idea of having a long-term survival world is important, and beacons are a really cool part of that. So exactly how have beacons improved? Now you can see them from up to 16 chunks away. That is a very big deal and means you can see a beacon, even or see a beacon like beam, even when you can't see the physical blocks that it's loaded into. This is a huge difference maker in my opinion, and it means that, yeah, all the way over there you can see on the top of the tree, I can barely see the actual beacon block, but I can see the beacon going into the sky. This is how beacons are meant to, if I run really far this way, by the way, it will still be true. This is how beacons are meant to work. They're meant to be big calls that there is something here, and I know a lot of Minecraft players have been using them solely for the effects, but honestly, the idea of a beacon working as a beacon, that's awesome. Also, if we check the changelog, apparently, also wait, we can't see it. Okay, there we go, it's back. 16 chunks, I must be on the exact edge of that. Interestingly, the changelog also hints that they've upped the distance to 2,048 blocks. Heck yeah, what an awesome improvement. Speaking of awesome improvements, the exact opposite of that has happened to leather boots, because the way that powdered snow is meant to work, I thought this was powdered snow, but it's a milk bucket. The way that powdered snow is meant to work is that right now you can jump onto it if you have leather boots, just like this, and if you go through it, then you won't. So basically, leather boots are a way to avoid powdered snow. I think most people know that at this point, but they're going to make it so that you can't just use leather boots as the catch-all solution to it, because now if you fall over 2.5 blocks, basically slightly less than the full damage distance, onto powdered snow, then your leather boots won't save you and you'll fall right through, and so you can start freezing. I mean, very slowly apparently. Do I have to put this on top of me? There we go, and then you can start freezing. Ooh, look how cold I am. Brr, I'm absolutely freezing over here. Apparently not very quickly at all. Does it not work? I have no idea why I'm not freezing, but what I do understand is that the 7th feature here is desert sounds, which sounds really odd on the surface, but I mean, I'll show you some now. I've spent a while inside of the desert and I couldn't notice the sounds myself, and I turned on subtitles, and that's when I noticed sandy sounds. These are the brand new sounds that will play in the desert biome, and they're here so that if there is a sand block surrounded by sand blocks, it will play a noise to let you know you're in a deserty place. It also is true for red sand and for terracotta if you're in a desert or badlands biome, and a similar thing will happen with dead bushes, basically to make you feel like you're in a more ambient environment. But again, despite apparently them playing right now, I can't hear them in the slightest. I've spent a while in here. But the point is, they're adding some very minor sounds to the sands because they are making minor changes to the atmosphere. That's kind of the theme of this update, and that's why we should now ask ourselves, does this drop look good? And honestly, for the first month of features now being fully out, I have to say that personally, this is not an update that is designed to my taste. I mean, it's lots of visual changes here and little polish there, ambient features there, which I think are going to be great for some people, but I do have to say that the beacon change by itself is better than basically any other change they've made so far. It's something that's so simple, you're just saying, what if the beacon worked as a beacon? But it's so massive, in my opinion. Obviously, going out from 16 chunks, which it is in the current Java version, out to 32 chunks maximum, is only a mild of a deal for Java players. But if this comes to Bedrock 2, where it currently is your simulation distance, so up to 4 chunks away, but having that go from 4 chunks to up to 96 would be massive. If the beacon worked as a beacon, the rest of this update wouldn't matter to me because that would be huge, and that is why I'm excited for this update. But I also then have to say, okay, what about the rest of this progress? Well, I think it's starting to be a bit of a predictable update in terms of where it is going so far. We've seen 2 pigs be added in the first week, and then 4 weeks later, we saw 2 cows be added, more or less using the exact same idea, cold and hot. We saw also, when they added leaf litters and flowers, 2 new ways to decorate the ground, we got bushes and firefly bushes. In other words, Minecraft are really going for a focus in this update, and they're doing it great, I guess you could say. and for people who want to have these ambient changes, that's going to be lovely. And I think this is going to be a large percent of Minecraft's player base, but I'm going to have to come here and say, you know what, honestly, even though these ambient features are wonderful, now is the time they should be adding the mood bloom. I don't actually understand how it took them 3 full weeks to add the new cow variants. The only explanation, because obviously they do nothing different to regular cows, and they just spawn in the same biomes as the pigs, they've just worked on that same code, so the only explanation is that, yeah, well, it's the textures that took so long, and if they were waiting so long on textures anyway, would it now have been a great time to texture the mood bloom? Honestly, if now isn't the time for the mood bloom, I don't see when would be. They're adding a yellow flower in this update, and they're adding cow variants. If they're not going to add it now, I don't know that they're ever going to add it, and that's a real shame because the point of the mob vote was at some point in the future, when it made sense, the losers would be added too, but that certainly isn't seeming to be that true. Obviously, this is not how the idea library works, and Mojang can add anything whenever they want, but given that they're coming back, and we should give them credit for coming back to the Firefly idea, a lot of players felt betrayed when they said it was just concept art, so coming back round and adding that is great. The fact that they're coming and fixing all of these features that people feel like they wanted from the last few years, that is really wonderful, but I also think that it's worth analysing, like, okay, within a certain update, does it make sense to add a certain mob vote loser here or there? If there's obviously, they would need to have a good idea for it, but as we've just established, the bar for adding a new cow to the game seems to be low. It seems to be, you can just add a new texture for that cow to be worthwhile. They don't even have official names, it's just the cold cow and the warm cow, so what if we had the flower cow? I'm just saying, Mojang, you could use my idea because it's not my idea, it's your idea, it's in your library. Anyway, yeah, I do think that the overall part of this update is it does look like it's going to be a solid, smaller drop. This is going to presumably be the size of updates going forwards, which does have some interesting knock-on implications, but for now, we can be happy. There are Fireflies and there are beacon improvements, and everything else is just kind of gravy on the table. But the other big question that we should answer is, when will it be coming? Obviously, the answer is soon. If you want to know when you can play with it on Bedrock, tomorrow is going to be the answer to that. That's when we're going to be getting our first 1.20, 1.70 beta and preview, and what's extra interesting about that is that we're going to have to keep an eye on it to see if these features are behind an experimental toggle, because if they are, then that is a sign that, yeah, this isn't coming in that update, but if they're not, if there is no toggle for Drop 1 2025, then it's quite likely that the end of that update will signal the release of this update for Bedrock and Java, and so that gives us a bit of a better time frame. But yeah, I will be very much keeping my eye on the beta and preview, and if they do make the beacon changes, I'll be streaming it tomorrow here on this channel. I did promise I would show you the Bedrock version of updates when they were available, but as you can see, we have that weird situation where it came out first on Java and second for Bedrock. Just another reminder to anyone watching this who's like, oh no, do Mojang secretly favor the Bedrock version? The answer is no. They develop features seemingly for Java first, and then as this update shows, we get them for Bedrock either a day later or sometimes quite a few weeks later, because still the full extent of the spring drop isn't quite available on Bedrock yet, which is a very interesting thing. And it's why I'm going to leave this video with just a simple question. Are you excited for these ambient and semi-visual only updates? Is adding new pigs and cow variants important to you, or are you like me and you prefer the lodestone change they made in the first snapshot and the beacon change they've made in this one? I like that they're adding these real nitty-gritty features, but I also wonder, is this going to be the update where we see, do Minecraft players by and large actually just like cosmetics, or was the wolf update really popular because it was a little bonus update that no one saw coming? That is the big question I guess we're going to have to wait and see for, but for now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Consider subscribing to stay up to date with the latest Minecraft Bedrock news, which we cover almost every single day here on this channel, and if you are still around and you want to see more of me, then come check out my live stream. It's probably still going. I'm trying to get those rare Bedrock arrows. It's going to be a lot of fun. Come check it out. Why don't you? Goodbye. What have I done? It looks like I'm speaking an enchantment table language.